My sister told me that she always thought my husband gave too much importance to his office meetings. He was always late, and during his absence, my mind would race with all kinds of thoughts. But she kept insisting that he was just caught up in work, and that was all. She believed I was simply being suspicious, and that I didn't trust him as much as I should. She was convinced that everything was fine, but I felt something wasn't right. One day, our neighbor's daughter, Helen, casually mentioned that she had seen my husband with another woman. They had been talking outside for quite some time, and then he had driven her away in his car. Helen had seen it with her own eyes, and the way she spoke about it, I could tell she was uneasy. She didn't know that I had overheard the conversation, but she simply said, "It seemed odd to me." Those words were like a sharp stab to my gut. I didn't want to believe it, but deep down, I knew I had to pay attention to what she said. After this, I overheard another conversation between a co-worker and someone else. He was saying that my husband had a habit of mistreating him. He would always approach him with a smile, but he could tell something was off. One day, he said, I always saw him as someone light-hearted, but just a few days ago, he seemed really disturbed. He was acting strangely, like he was hiding something. The words hit me hard, but I remained calm. I tried not to let the weight of his words sink in too deep. Still, it was yet another piece of the puzzle that I couldn't ignore. Then, the kids came to me after school one day and said something that startled me even more. They always shared their day with me, telling me everything they saw and did. This time, they said, "Mom, we saw that Dad wasn't doing much. He was acting different. He was distant and not really paying attention to anything." They told me this so casually, almost as if they didn't fully realize the gravity of what they were saying. But those words made me feel like the world around me was starting to crumble. How could they see it and I didn't? Was I blind to the truth? One day, it was Thanksgiving, and I decided to gather my family together. There were aunts, uncles, cousins, and everyone else present. We were all sitting around the table, sharing food and enjoying each other's company. But amidst the chatter and laughter, people started talking about what had been happening. No one directly mentioned my husband's actions, but it was clear that the reality was finally coming to light. One of my aunts, who always observed everything, said, "You know, your husband always acted like that. You just never paid attention to it." Those words hit me like a ton of bricks. My mind was spinning. How could I have missed it all this time? Is this true? I asked quietly, almost to myself, as I looked around at everyone. The room fell silent. No one spoke. The silence was deafening. All their eyes shifted uneasily, as though they were all waiting for someone else to speak, to give an answer. But no one did. It was like everyone knew the truth, but no one wanted to admit it. The weight of that moment was almost too much to bear. All those little signs, all those whispers, all those things I had pushed aside in the name of trust, they were all finally coming together. I stood there, looking at them in silence, and after what felt like an eternity, I spoke again. "Now you all know. There's no point in hiding it anymore." I left the question lingering in the air, unspoken but understood. And in that moment, everything changed. No one had to say anything more. The truth was out, and there was nothing left to hide. The next few days were a blur. My husband didn't say anything. He didn't apologize. He didn't try to explain. But it was clear that the reality of the situation had dawned on him too. The power dynamic had shifted, but not in the way I had expected. I had never wanted to be the one to take control. I never wanted to be the one to expose him. But in the end, the truth had its own way of revealing itself. I hadn't had to do anything. I hadn't had to yell, or make accusations, or even confront him directly. The truth had already spoken for itself, and all I had to do was let it unfold. At that moment, I realized something profound. True power doesn't always come from taking charge or asserting control. The real power lies in having the ability to remain silent, to observe, and to wait for the right time. It's the quiet strength that allows you to watch everything unravel without ever having to say a word. When people underestimate you, when they think they know everything, that's when you have the greatest advantage. Because when the truth comes to light, it's not your words that matter. It's the silence that speaks the loudest. In the days that followed, people in our circle started to act differently. Some began to offer their sympathies, others distanced themselves, and a few still chose to remain neutral, not wanting to get involved. But I didn't need anyone's sympathy. I didn't need anyone to feel sorry for me. I had already won, not through confrontation or through angry accusations, but through quiet strength. I had let the truth speak for itself, and in doing so, I had regained control. There was no longer any pretense in my relationship with my husband. He knew that I knew. And I knew that he knew that I knew. There was an unspoken understanding between us. The walls that had been built between us for years came crashing down, not with a loud bang, but with a soft whisper of truth. The silence that followed was not awkward or uncomfortable, it was freeing. I didn't need to say anything more. The truth had already been said, and it was enough. In the end, I realized that the true power comes not from what we say, but from what we don't say. The real strength lies in the ability to observe, to listen, and to wait for the right moment. The moment when the truth is ready to reveal itself. That's when the real power takes hold. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Just wait, and let the truth do the rest. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful content. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue bringing you stories that matter. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon. Stay tuned for more.